Hi, my name is Shatanese Reese, and I'm one of the speakers that is participating in the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network webinar series. My session, titled When Emotions Run High, Practical Emotional Intelligence for Parenting, Real Life Tools for Navigating Tough Moments with Clarity and Intention. My hope is that you will gain some real life tools on how to deal with some difficult moments. Let's go ahead and get started. Who am I? I am a certified human resources professional, a certified emotional intelligence coach, as well as a John Maxwell DISC consultant. I'm also an author, and my most favorite role is mom to the Reese's Pieces. And who are the Reese's Pieces? This is my family. My husband's at the top, and all of our Reese's Pieces. So we're extremely busy doing all the things that parents do. But Josiah is my why. And you can see in terms of the pictures some of the evolution of when Josiah first was born and to now, as a thriving athlete. And I just want to show this video with you. Get up, So this was Josiah in Times Square with the National Down Syndrome Society for their New York City Buddy Walk, and it was so exciting to be in Times Square and to see Josiah among 499 other individuals with Down syndrome shown on the jumbotrons. So if you've never participated in that event, I highly encourage you to contact the National Down Syndrome Society to find out the details and check it out. You will be amazed. It's a phenomenal opportunity and event. So, bathroom confession time. Okay, how many of you want to just simply hide out in the bathroom when time gets tough? Me. I know that I'm not the only one in terms of just wanting a piece of quiet, just a moment where you are not being tugged at in terms of multiple being pulled in multiple directions, competing priorities. This needs to be done, that needs to be done yesterday, and you still need to like brush your teeth. Yes, sometimes being in the bathroom feels like it's the safest place, and you wish as if everything would just kind of disappear and you wouldn't have to deal with it. Well, you're not alone, and I want to talk a little bit about what happens when that comes up for us. So every single parent has that moment where you feel as if you just cannot do anything else, and you are probably telling people, I'm fine. Like, really, I'm fine. There's nothing going on, nothing that needs to be done. I'm holding it all together. When in reality, you're actually thinking, save me, please. Someone, I can remember thinking, Calgon, please just take me away. That's like way back in the day with those commercials where they would have the bubble bath, Calgon, and you would just kind of take people to a whole different environment. I wish we had a button that could do that at times. But let's normalize feeling as if everything is demanding all at once. And it also feels as if it's like just way too much. That's normal. It's normal for you as a parent to feel that. And it's only exacerbated when you are a parent of someone with special needs, no matter at what stage. So I like to say that children move from your lap, when they're that size, when they're able to sit on your lap, and they move to your heart once they get into adulthood. So never does it end as a parent. Your children are always ever present in terms of you and presence in their life. Early parents. Okay, where are my early parents? Raise your hands out there in virtual land. I'm sure you're out there. You probably thought that you'd be a calm, patient, always organized parent, and then reality showed up with a toddler refusing to wear pants. Whereas our experienced parents or our more seasoned parents, you've accepted that some things just aren't worth the fight. You're like, hey, that's what you want to wear? Let's go. Hop in the car. We're off to the store. We're off to wherever. And I dare anyone to judge me or to judge my child because you're just thinking it's really that's the easiest thing to do is to get them into the car with pajamas. And so sometimes you just have to, roll with it and not fuss or be too concerned about what others may be thinking or how it's not perfect. As someone who is a recovering perfectionist, I get it. Sometimes you just have to let things go. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's talk about emotional intelligence 101 and what exactly this is. Let me ask you, before we unpack that further, look at this screen and tell me, which of these emotions have you experienced in the last 24 hours? Joy? What about B, frustration? Or C, exhaustion? Or all of the above? Some of you may be saying, Shatanese, not in the last 24 hours, like in the last minute, I've experienced all those things. Again, you are not alone. And it's highly plausible that as a parent of a child with special abilities, unique abilities, that you could experience all of these emotions all in 1 minute. And it's not a matter of, how you're feeling day to day. It's literally a matter of how you're feeling second by second, moment by moment. And I want us to talk about what happens when we are feeling all of those moments all at once. So, Emotional Intelligence 101 and why it matters is because it's around us everywhere, whether you are feeling a certain way, where others are feeling a certain way, and how you manage your stress, how you view yourself. All of that plays into emotional intelligence. And so for today, I want to talk about these 4 areas. Number 1, self-awareness. So catching that we all have that voice when we're under stress. Mine sounds like this. If you don't get yourself over here, like I'm talking through my gritted teeth, and it's everything I can do to just stay calm. So you probably, think about that. You probably know what that voice is when you're under stress. And it's important for us to be able to look in the mirror and to see who we are when we are at our wits' end. That's self-awareness. So we can recognize when we are moving from the green zone to yellow and then ultimately red. Whenever I'm coaching clients, I talk about the green, yellow, red. And ideally, you want to clearly understand what it's like and who you are. When you're in the green, that means everything's calm, cool. And when things become a little bit more agitated, you move into the yellow, and then red is when you're at level 10. So you have to be aware of yourself and what is necessary to move you back into the green. Additionally, self-regulation. Being able to calm yourself and recognize that this is just a moment and it shall pass. Oftentimes, when I'm talking to teams and leaders about being in the green, yellow, and red, we identify 1 to 3 tasks or items that will help you get back into that regulated state. For example, breathing. I cannot tell you how important it is to remember to breathe. And there is something that's called the vagus nerve that if you are able to kind of open your mouth and breathe and even say, while you're breathing, it automatically kind of calms your body. It tells your body you're safe, you're not in danger, and that you are okay. So, whatever it is that you need to be regulated. Additionally, as we're talking about self regulation, it's important for you to pause before you react. In our brain, there's the amygdala, and it gets hijacked, meaning something happens and we're trying to decide, okay, do I need to run? Do I need to, kind of freeze, or am I, do I need to prepare to defend myself, to fight? So before you respond, put some space between the situation and your response. So, like, you're really putting some space in between the situation and the response so that you can actually understand, okay, so what's happening in this moment? Why am I, feeling agitated? Why am I feeling activated? What do I need to do to kind of calm down and get myself back into a regulated state? And then social awareness. So looking around, scanning the room, and really assessing the situation, making sure that what you are experiencing, you're not projecting on others, nor are you taking on the feelings of other people. So it's just simply because someone is agitated about something else that may be happening at the school, maybe happening at the doctor's office, maybe happening in the store. You are watching yourself, maintaining your own sense of peace. One of my kids is actually studying for the end of year test in biology, and they're talking about the cell membrane and how the cell membrane serves as a kind of a protection. It keeps the shape. We have to activate our own cell membranes, our own protective state, so that we are able to respond and show up as our best selves. Additionally, relationship management. Whenever we're working with our children who have unique abilities, sometimes they're not able to verbalize, they're not able to actually articulate what it is that they need or what's going on. And so that may cause frustration in us, and we then respond out of that frustration, which of course could potentially impact the relationship. So being able to manage relationships, just not simply in our own household, but even externally, that is important. So all of these areas, self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, and relationship management, all play into our own emotional intelligence and how we can show up every single day, every moment, and making sure that we are showing up as our best selves. So keeping peace when chaos hits is definitely important. So as we move on, let's talk about the emotional roller coaster, parenting through real life challenges. Um, Looking at this particular graphic, how many of you actually enjoy riding on roller coasters? Listen, it's been a while since I've been on a roller coaster, but this certainly is a good depiction of how we can experience our day at any given time. So you're on a roller coaster, and sometimes it feels as if you're on it with no seatbelt. You see there, I have different times of day. So, 7 a.m., you could be over here, 7 p.m., and it's like you're just feeling as if you're all over the place. That can truly be how your parental journey is, especially when you are expecting things to be a certain way and they don't actually end up the way that you were experiencing it. I remember when, I'll never forget the day that we found out that there was a 99% chance that Josiah had Down syndrome. Being there in the hospital, talking to the doctors, getting the amniocentesis done, which I'd never done on any of my previous, 5 children, and just feeling fear in that moment, feeling sadness, not sure what the future was going to hold, and then also being told by the medical staff that we could terminate our pregnancy. I mean, just the weight of that moment was just so much. And I could have definitely caved in to that fear, to that like really borderline depression. But my husband and I, we just knew that we couldn't terminate the pregnancy. That was the decision that we chose to make. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I didn't. I don't know. I couldn't imagine my life without Josiah in it. And so you each, that whomever is watching, you have your own diagnosis day flashback or experience. And at that time, I did not know about the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network. I felt lonely. I felt as if no one else could possibly understand how I was feeling. And nor did I even see any families that looked like me that was experiencing what I was experiencing. So it was a really tough time. And let's not forget the denial. Like I was clinging to that 1% that he was going to be fine, that he was going to be okay. But that's not how it was supposed to happen. And again, I couldn't imagine my life without Josiah. So here we had our own idea of who our child was going to be. And we had to go through a mourning process, kind of a grieving process, and rediscovering what we were going to be and what type of life Josiah was going to have in our family. So it's emotions. And every single day can feel like just a boatload of emotions. And if you're not careful, those emotions can make you feel overwhelmed, or exactly like this roller coaster graphic that I have here. So it contributes to exhaustion, but also a sense of pride, like all at once. And so you can be exhausted and you can have a great sense of pride about who your child is. There's something out on social media now. It's overwhelm exaggerated, which is basically the words overwhelmed, exhausted, and overstimulated all smushed together in one word. If you haven't seen it, you have to look it up. But I totally can relate, because sometimes you're just spent. So this can look like, for early parents, you get up ready to go. Let's go. You're going to be an advocate for your child, and it's you and your child against the world. By 10 a.m., you're in the car just crying. Like, what just happened? The doctor's telling you all these things about your child and the future, and you're again faced with like, what is going on? Why us? And then, an hour later, you're excited because your child has just crossed a major milestone. I can remember the first time that Josiah signed "thank you." I was like, yes, yes, our child is in there. We're able to communicate with him, and you may have that same experience. And so our seasoned parents, our experienced parents, 7 a.m., you're thinking, why am I up? Who is scheduling the IEP meetings at, dark 30 in the morning? And then you learn to kind of take a deep breath and you stay calm. And you celebrate the small moments whenever they come, as well as being so tired at the end of the day and thinking everybody shouldn't be in bed now. No one should be awake, and we're changing our bedtime to 5:30 p.m. So you learn to adapt. And the reality is that you, as an early parent or experienced parent, you could feel either of these on either side of what I have here before you. So it really depends on how you navigate. So let's talk about that. What can we do? What do we do when our emotions run high? Well, you have a couple of options. Let's talk about those strategies. Early parents, that 5-second rule. When you're eating something so delicious and it falls on the ground and you're like, woo, 1, 2, 3, get it up there. Well, similarly, when you're facing a situation, ask yourself, is it going to matter in 5 years from now? If the answer is no, do not waste any energy on it. And I know sometimes it feels as if everything is important and everything is going to be, significant in 5 years. The reality is, not everything is, and nor can you give your energy to everything. And it's important for you to accept messy and to let certain things go. I love for the beds in our home to be made a certain way, and I also expect each child to have their own level of responsibilities. We're all in this house together. We all need to contribute. So that means Josiah is expected to make his bed. Now, when he makes his bed, I say yes, thank you, because it's not necessarily smooth. It's not corner to corner. The pillows are not fluffed and propped the way that I would like, but he has made an effort. He's made the bed. The end goal has, the blankets are covering the bed for the most part. I have to let that go and keep it moving. And you have to find your source of support. Who are the other parents? I remember facilitating a session, and someone in the audience asked a question like, "Hey, Shatanese, what do I do if I don't have any family that's nearby?" And I'm not sure what to do in terms of being able to get some relief. And I encourage that parent to try to identify either groups within the school system, or if there are community organizations, or connecting with the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network, or even the National Down Syndrome Society, so that you can get connected to people who are around you who are more than willing to help you out, even if it's coming and just sitting with you for a few hours or a few moments. There are people out there, and I know it's going to take some time just in terms of building up that trust. And so I don't want people to feel as if they're just out on an island, because that can be very depleting and can feel very lonely as well. Experienced parents, we know how to ignore things that are happening in the household, unless of course there's blood. If there's we hear bumps, or something's happening, as long as we don't hear just horrendous crying, oftentimes we're able to kind of tune things out and let things be. You may have to be able to do that. Additionally, working with, using snack as negotiation. And, don't think of it as you're bribing, think of it as you're leveraging the tools that you have at your fingertips. And being able to realize that perfect parents do not exist. So don't feed in to the hype, especially if you're on social media and you are following people who have these families that seem like they have it all together. That is not the case at all. We're all out here struggling at times, right? And also, on the times when I may be low, someone else may be high. And so that's where it's important for you to tap into your parental tribe and to make sure that you have the support that you need. It's also important for me to call out here taking time for your own self. It's just like for anyone who flies, when they tell you to put your oxygen on yourself first, you have to take care of yourself. Once a month, I shut down my laptop and I go and do something, whether it's just being outside and listening to nature, taking a walk, or just sitting or taking a nap. Oh my goodness, I cannot minimize the importance of nap time. As a matter of fact, I wish they would just bring nap time back, within the workplace, so that we all could take naps. Because back to my previous slide, that self-awareness, recognizing when we're hungry, when we're angry, lonely, or we need a nap, it's absolutely important. All right, so the deep breath that keeps you out of jail. So because being able to pause is certainly power. We're using the multiple choice options. Okay, so if I respond using A, and I play that reaction out, what could happen? B, again, what could happen? C, which of these options, A, B, or C, allows me to show up as my best self? And remember to put that space in between the reaction and the situation. So science says pausing works. I say it keeps me from throwing an IEP binder across the room. So for all of you who are agreeing with that, feel free to, I wish I could see you. You could put some reactions in. Processing over panic. Not every meltdown needs fixing. Sometimes it just needs snacks. No, I'm not suggesting that you just throw food at every situation. You, of course, have to know your child. What do they need? And being aware and responsive to whatever that need may be. Maybe they are overstimulated. Maybe they do need a snack. Maybe they need a redirection in terms of what's happening. Maybe they need to go outside. And so being in tune and offering options so that you can process through whatever the situation is and you remain regulated. That's so key because we know that our children, our family members, they can feed off of whatever we are feeling. Again, going back to that self-awareness as well as the self-regulation. The art of emotional redirect. When your child teaches you how to live in the moment because they refuse to leave the toy aisle. So I'm sure many of us have been in the toy aisle, the candy aisle, and they want that one thing and they start to have a meltdown. And of course, other parents or other people, they start looking and giving you the side eye and like wondering what's going on and move nervously out of the way. A lot will depend on how you respond in that moment. And so are you able to, redirect their attention so they are not getting that particular toy, but maybe this one, or, you tell them, okay, if you, stop crying or move over here, then yes, we can. Or, just again, being able to meet them where they are. Or you just simply sit down in the toy aisle and, kind of process through it. Really thinking outside of the box and trying to not focus on this is how it should be done. Those shouldas can get us into a lot of trouble and will also cause us to feel as if we are less than because we're worried about everyone else looking at what we have going on in that moment. And then I can't stress enough the importance of finding your tribe because texting send help to other parents who get it is much cheaper than therapy. Not to downplay therapy because I wholeheartedly believe in having someone who is outside of your family who can listen to what you're saying and also hear what you're not saying. So if you feel as if you need someone who is a trained therapist, I highly recommend that you do that. But certainly there's a benefit of having a group of individuals who just simply get it. And again, as I've stated, connecting with the Down Syndrome Diagnosis Network or the National Down Syndrome Society, those are two organizations that can certainly help you get connected to various groups or people that understand where you are. So you definitely have got this, even when you don't feel like it. And there will be a number of days when you don't feel like it. And so I just want to encourage you to keep showing up, to keep loving your child and those around you. And more importantly, keep loving yourself. You have been chosen for such a time as this to be the parent for the child that you have in your life. So you're stronger than you think. You will laugh. You will cry. You'll wonder if therapy sessions if they're it's too many for you, for them. And again, that's okay. Your child will bring joy that the world cannot teach. So live every moment. Try to show up for as much as you can. And for our experienced parents, you now are considered the experts. If you've made it through several years, bravo. Hats off to you. You have done it. Like you've done one step at a time, one day at a time. And so you can keep going. And you can also encourage someone else, a brand new parent who was in your shoes, who is now in your shoes where you were, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You've survived the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the IEP meetings, and you are doing better than you think, even if you are the last person to eat and your coffee is cold and you feel like you're just totally spent at the end of the day. But you've made it. And I encourage you to keep reminding yourself of that. You've come a long ways. And so I'm giving you permission to hide in the bathroom, but don't stay there because all of the snacks are certainly in the kitchen and not in the bathroom, unless you have like a special bathroom. So, with that, emotional intelligence is not about being perfect, it's about managing the present and being able to know when it is time for you to step back, pull back or pause, and also reading those around you. Additionally, you may have to make some adjustments. What worked last week may not work today. And so being able to pivot and be flexible is absolutely important. Additionally, taking breaks. And if you're not able to get people to come in to support you, like into your home to support you, definitely consider hiding in the restroom or making sure that your child is safe and occupied so that you can kind of regulate yourself, do those breathing exercises that I talked about earlier where you're opening and you're and making sure that you remember that what's most important is that you show up, use humor, love yourself, and be present because the time goes by so quickly. You were at one point in time getting the news that your child has Down syndrome, and but there's just been so much joy in every single moment, and at the same time, a lot of stress, and it can be both, and that's absolutely okay. And so please remember, you're doing better than you think. Keep your chin up and keep going. In these last few moments, I'd love for you to just pause and think about one thing that you appreciate about yourself as a parent. One thing. Is it that you are phenomenal at bedtime stories? Is it that you navigate IEP meetings like a boss? Is it that you are just so excited to be the parent that you are and that you can't wait to see what the future holds? What's that one thing? Write that down and keep it somewhere because you're going to need to reflect on that when those days get tough. And they will get tough at times. So just remember, you're not alone though. And with that, I say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. And I wish you each much success. Thank you.